Tell me, what is this? Balloons, circles, marbles of different colors? There are many possible answers to this question. What is this? Have you noticed? 2 different colors only. So this should ring a bell. What is this? Well, we have put 5 lines. So the answer to the question, what is this, is simple and obvious. It can only be music notes. Gee, I see you are a very good pianist. Thank you so much for that. Could you please play that for me?
Sure.
And what if I play something like...
That's correct. You can also play this way.
You sure? And what if we turn this...
The other way around, yeah?
Yeah.
Then we go with the left hand, something like this.
And what if I play something like...
That's correct.
So you are correct?
Yes.
Would you say I am correct?
Yeah.
So you see, this is level 0 of music. So there's a level 0 in music and there's a level 0 in Bible reading. It's what most of us we are doing, individualistic reading. I believe, I think, I am right, you are wrong. So T, I see we are stuck. You are wrong, I'm correct, or the opposite. What if you play that?
Well, this is different.
What is different? Tell us.
We have
What's
treble
that?
clef.
Yes.
And then we have F sharp, which basically means that it's going to be G major.
This is too complicated. Play for us, please.
Okay, this is how it works.
But I remember you played something like that at first. And the left hand was very different.
Yes.
So what's going on here?
Well,
could you play something else?
No, because it's very specific now.
So we are making progress. So what is written here is music and we can play only that.
Yes.
I can't play what I think, or what I believe, or what I feel. This is music. Could you play it again?
And that's the only way you can actually play it.
So we are making progress, are we?
We are, definitely.
We are making progress. So in order to avoid this way of doing music, where you play what you want, or you read the Bible the way you want, we have introduced at the beginning of the line 2 signs. I would suggest that those 2 signs tell us what is the genre, the literary genre of the text, without which we can't read it. So let me take one example taken from the book of Revelation.
Revelation 21, 9-16. Then one of the 7 angels, who had the 7 bowls full of the 7 last plagues, came and said to me, "Come, I will show you the bride, the wife of the Lamb." And in the Spirit he carried me away to a great high mountain and showed me the holy city, Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven from God. It has the glory of God and a radiance like a very rare jewel, like jasper, clear as crystal. It has a great high wall with 12 gates, and at the gates 12 angels, and on the gates are inscribed the names of the 12 tribes of the Israelites. On the east, 3 gates. On the north, 3 gates. On the south, 3 gates, and on the west, 3 gates. And the wall of the city has 12 foundations, and on them are the 12 names of the 12 apostles of the Lamb. The angel who talked to me had a measuring rod of gold to measure the city and its gates and walls. The city lies 4 square, its length the same as its width. And he measured the city with his rod, 1,500 miles. Its length and width and height are equal.
On the mountain, John is shown the city of Jerusalem. What a city! What a city! Actually, it's a square, 1,500 miles long and large. So from Glasgow to Rome. So if you don't know that the genre of the text is different, it is apocalyptic, you are lost. How come a city could be so big, so huge? This is the first example. Second example is also taken from the book of Revelation. Before that, in chapter 5.
Revelation 5:6. Then I saw between the throne and the 4 living creatures and among the elders a lamb, standing as if it had been slaughtered, having 7 horns and 7 eyes, which are the 7 spirits of God sent out into all the earth.
So here we have the description of a lamb. And what a lamb! 7 horns, 7 eyes. So if you forget to take the beginning of the line with the clef, you would end up believing that in heaven there is such a lamb. And I can tell you, by the name of Jesus. No, this is not the case. Actually, we are in apocalyptic, meaning that the author uses symbols, metaphors. And if you are not aware of that, you will come with a totally wrong interpretation of the text. So T, we agreed that music is not only a melody, but music is also rhythm.
Yes.
Here we have rhythm. Could you play it, please, for us?
Okay.
Did you invent it?
No, this little dot here and this tail means that we have to change the character and the value of the note, how long it
play
lasts.
something like that?
Not if you want to respect what the author wanted to say.
So rhythm means that I need to follow what the author wrote.
Yes. And to start where author started and to finish where author finished.
Oh, I can start whenever I want?
It changes the melody completely. So
Oh, come on, could you play that for us, please?
from here, yeah?
From here, no, you start
from there,
We have to
okay.
make it short.
Let's try.
Oh, this is nice.
It is, but I think Queen will not like it.
Why?
It lacks the main bit here in the beginning.
Okay, you start at the beginning and you can't stop when you want?
It's not your decision.
Let's try the Messiah of Handel.
Handel?
Yeah.
Okay. Hallelujah.
Yes, Hallelujah. Oh, this is enough.
But the resolution is missing. It's hanging in
What
the air.
what do you mean the resolution?
You need this chord.
So
Then it's complete.
we start at the beginning, we go until the end.
Yes.
We don't start in the middle, and we look also at repetitions.
Repetitions, patterns, sequences, everything what author wanted to show through this piece.
So we do that when we play music, and we do that when we read the Bible. You can't start where you want, and you can't leave the text where you want. Otherwise, you would find very odd statements in the Bible, such as, go and marry a prostitute and have children with her. How come? Well, you start where you want and you live when you want. Or go to Bethel and sin. I'm not inventing anything. You would find that in the Bible. Let me take another example in the Gospel of Luke, chapter 15.
Tax collectors and sinners were all crowding around to listen to Jesus. So the Pharisees and the teachers of the law of Moses started grumbling. "This man is friendly with sinners. He even eats with them." Then Jesus told them this parable. "If any of you has 100 sheep and one of them gets lost, what will you do? Won't you leave the 99 in the field and go look for the lost sheep until you find it? And when you find it, you will be so glad that you will put it on your shoulder and carry it home. Then you will call in your friends and neighbors and say, 'Let's celebrate. I have found my lost sheep.' In the same way, there is more happiness in heaven because of one sinner who turns to God than over 99 good people who don't need to. What will a woman do if she has 10 silver coins and loses one of them? Won't she light a lamp, sweep the floor, and look carefully until she finds it? Then she will call in her friends and neighbors and say, 'Let's celebrate. I've found the coin I lost.'" Jesus said, "In the same way, God's angels are happy when even one person turns to him." Then he said, "Once a man had 2 sons.
Just at the beginning of this text, we have the sentence, Jesus told them this parable. But for most of the readers, myself included, at first I would consider, no, we don't have one parable, we have 3 parables. The lost sheep, the lost coin, and the prodigal son. So instead of considering everything all together, we cut the text in different parts. So we would say, okay, let us consider today the lost coin, and then we leave. So Jesus is answering to a question, and actually we consider only a third of the answer, which is quite odd and not respectful at all. If you ask me a question and I give you the answer, well, you should consider the answer, full answer, and not only a part of it. It's what we are doing with the Bible. We start when we want and we leave when we want, which is not respectful at all.
Now we have few notes sounding together. We call it harmony.
Okay.
And we have
So, could you play the top? Well, we know the top, but just as a reminder. Okay, this is enough. And then I see
Bass
something,
line.
the bass. Yes, could you please?
And then we have the middle voice. It fills the harmony.
Does it mean that music is not only one sound, but different sounds coming together?
Only then you can hear the richness when they're sounding together in harmony.
So could you play it as it is written, with all the voices being included?
Let me try.
Well, wonderful. I remember we started like that. That was a bit rubbish. And then we progressed saying, well, should be like that. And then,
Adding the rhythm.
and then, this is beautiful. Because we have different voices coming together, the richness of the text, or the richness of music as it was written. Bringing notes, bringing sounds together. Am I correct?
Yes. And now we have the atmosphere, we have the fullness of sound.
So when we read, we should probably try to put
Hear different voices.
different voices together.
And maybe different shades of meaning. We should listen to them.
Thank you. So when we read the Bible, we need to read the Bible together. take an example. When you sing every morning, taking your shower, you always sing in tune. Why? Because you are alone. But when you join a group, then you will soon discover maybe that you're not really in tune. So, bringing different voices together. Maybe you are better with the bass, because you are a male. If you are female, well, more alto, more soprano, so you come with a different perspective, a different sensitivity, and you bring it to the text. So we are enriched when we read the Bible together and not alone. And I can tell you that most of the heresies came from people singing alone or reading the Bible alone without having any contact with other singers, readers. We need to read together. This is a challenge, but what a challenge! Something in addition to what we have considered so far. A name?
Robert Schumann,
A date.
1838, Opus 15.
What is the date telling us?
This is a romantic period. There's a lot of emotions, a lot of movement, space in melody, freedom.
So emotion, freedom. Could you try playing that with emotion and freedom, please? Just the beginning. Okay, I got it. What, let's say, a military march.
A military march.
We forget Schumann and the date.
Yes.
And what if, could we try Mozart?
Mozart.
This is not Schumann.
Different period.
The notes are pretty the same, but the atmosphere is significantly different.
Yes, different touch.
And what if, well, let's try something completely different. Duke Ellington.
Okay.
So does it mean that when we play music, we need to look at the time? When music was written?
Respect the time, main features, characteristic of a musician, different touch, different atmosphere,
So,
mood.
Romantic period is not Mozart.
No.
Romantic period is not Duke Ellington. Is not Bach. Is not a military march as well. We have something else here. Opus 15, you said.
Yes.
What does it mean?
That basically you need to be aware of the whole opus, starting with 1, 2, 3, 14,
So, does it mean that Schumann wrote Opus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 until 16 and probably maybe 16, 17? Can I play properly Schumann without knowing what he wrote before and what he wrote after that?
If I want to be a proper interpreter of Schumann, then not. I need to know exactly what comes before and after. You can't
So,
just take this out of the context.
Are you telling us that in order to play music, we need to have a large view, large perspective? And it would probably be the same. If we want to read the Bible properly, we need to have a large perspective?
Yes.
Excellent. Schumann, Opus 15. If we want to play it correctly, to interpret it correctly, we need to consider what came before and maybe what came after Opus 15. The same for the Bible. If we want to understand properly Paul, we can't use only one letter. Say, for example, on marriage, you would go to Corinthians. Paul saying, you should not marry. End of the story. No, it's not. You go to Ephesians, and Paul would tell you, okay, marriage is the good example, the best example to explain the relationship between the church and Christ. So please enlarge your perspective when you read the Bible. If you want to read the book of Acts, you can't understand the book of Acts, which is Opus 2, if you don't have in mind Opus 1, which is the Gospel of Luke itself. So we need to take both. If you read the book of Chronicles, do it with the book of Kings. Otherwise, you are cutting the text. Please, don't play Matthew as you would play Paul. The notes are the same. The words are the same, but the meaning is different. Let me take one example first, the word righteousness. If you go to Matthew, righteousness is keeping the commandments of God. But if you go to Paul, same word, same sound, but the meaning different, being righteousness comes from God. So please don't play Matthew as you would play Paul. Another example, miracles. You go to the Gospel of Mark, in 3 verses, Mark is able to describe a miracle. But if you go to the Gospel of John, no miracle, but signs. So you see, you can't play Mark as you would play John. Yet another example. Don't read the book of Genesis, the first chapters, as if they had been written 21st century in an Oxford science lab. This is not the case at all. T, we are close to the end, but I see that we have still not considered some indications which are on the score. So I see scenes from childhood and about foreign lands and people. So what does it mean?
There's something nostalgic about it. It's a foreign land, so there's something unknown, mysterious almost.
Bit of a dream?
Yeah, it's dreamy.
Or nostalgia?
Yes.
So we considered playing it as a military march. Could you do it again?
Military march.
Stop it. This is not about foreign lands, scenes from childhood. It does not work. So how would you play that? Okay. I can hear the mystery, the nostalgia. Oh yes, this is quite important. But we have also here timing, which is given. 1 minute 25 seconds. So if you play it slowly, it would be something like
this.
Oh, come on. You are playing like a boy or a girl after 1 year of piano.
They want faster.
And this is boring. Oh, no. You are destroying everything. 1 minute 25 seconds would be something like. Okay. Speed, pace. Schumann told us 1 minute 25. I want this piece being played in 1 minute 25. Pace is very important. When he played it too quickly, that was awful. And when he played it too slowly, boring. So have you noticed when we read the Bible, often same pace, middle pace, as if you would say, well, I always drive 50 miles per hour. Well, fine. But if you are in a city, this is too fast. If you're on the motorway, this is too slow and dangerous. Listen to the difference in one given psalm. We know the Psalm 23, in which we have at least 2 different paces. Listen carefully.
The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in right paths for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the darkest valley, I fear no evil. For you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord my whole life long.
I know some of you would say, well, this is far too complicated. We have so many things to do and to consider. the literary genre, the rhythm, the title, pace. What else? The author, the time. Far too much. Could we do music without knowing the theory? Yes, you can. But I can tell you, if you play by ear only, it means that you are only able to repeat what you heard before. So, I don't want you to be parrots just able to repeat something. I want you to be clever readers, meaning not only being reader, but being in charge of the meaning of the text, understanding what you read. Do you remember the Ethiopian eunuch in the book of Acts? He was asked the question by Philip, do you understand what you read? So this is the challenge. About foreign lands and people. So when we play music, we need to follow what the author gave us, generally speaking. Do we have always those titles given by the authors?
Sometimes we need to fill in the blanks.
Okay, but when we have them, we need to stick to what they said. Just the last thing, here I see strange
That's the sign for the pedal.
signs for the pedal, meaning that you should put the pedal here or not the pedal here. If you, well, don't play with the pedal.
Not really nice.
Oh, this is ugly. And if you put the pedal,
Then you have the mystery, you have connections.
okay, and what we have else, I have numbers here at the top of some notes, meaning what?
Which finger to use for certain notes.
And what if I put the wrong finger?
Well, it won't be as good, I guess.
It would make my life more difficult.
Yes.
So, playing music, I need to follow the rules, follow the indications which were given, so we know that it is Schumann, it's not Mozart. We know that it is written in 1838, Romantic music. We know the title, the general atmosphere, and if we follow everything, we have such a nice piece of music. Remember, we started with something very odd. And then we have something completely different. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Remember, Schumann helped us in putting a title. Do we have titles in the Bible? Not really, but if we are careful, we have very often clues, keys for the interpretation of a given passage. Let us go back to Luke 15. If you start a bit late, then you will have the story of the lost sheep, the lost coin, and the lost child. But if you start right at the beginning with the title is given, including to the text. It is clearly said, well, Pharisees and scribes were grumbling. They were not happy because of the behavior of Jesus. And then, response of Jesus, let me tell you a parable. So the parable given is an answer to the grumbling Pharisees and scribes. If you miss the beginning of the text, you miss the title. You delete the title which is given and which is key for the interpretation of the text. And instead of saying lost, main word is lost coin, lost sheep, lost child. No, the topic is not lost, but joy. Coin was lost, but joy because it has been recovered. Sheep was lost, but sheep was recovered. And then the son is coming back. So the topic is rejoicing instead of grumbling. What do you like? Rejoicing or grumbling? Musicians will tell us, the more you play, the more you forget theory. And they would add, the more you play, the more you become what you play. Let me tell you a story, coming from a novel which was written in 1953 by the title Fahrenheit 451. This is science fiction. This is the story of a society in which books are forbidden. So in order to prevent the destruction of books, people decided, okay, we're going to learn the stories we have in those books. and they became what they read. Some would say, "Oh, I am Hamlet." Another would say, No, I am Cinderella." Another would say, "I am Oliver Twist." Amazing. They became what they read. Final rehearsal, 1736, we are in Leipzig with Johann Sebastian Bach, the Great. This is the first time he plays with his orchestra and choir his masterpiece, the St. Matthew Passion. Amazing performance. Great work, such a great work. And then, at the end, what happened? Nothing. I mean, the score was put in a drawer and nobody played it for 100 years. It disappeared completely. 100 years later, another musician, Felix Mendelssohn, came to open the drawer and he discovered the score and he started looking at it. Fantastic, amazing. And he said, "Well, I need to play that." And he did. But for 100 years, this masterpiece was silent, or let me say, dead. This is the Bible. Silent, dead. Can you hear something? Is it a magic book? No. Silent and dead. The Bible needs you. The Bible needs a reader. Otherwise, it's a dead book. We play music. We know how to play music. We need to play the Bible as well. The Bible needs readers. The Bible needs you. And then you will become what you have inside. Let me tell you a secret. The Bible is the only book you need to read not only with your eyes, but also with your ears. Please play the Bible as we play music.
En arche he ho logos. Kai ho logos en prostum theon. Kai theos en ho logos.
Essa era nel principio
Utos
con Dio.
en arche prostum theon.
Ogni cosa è stata fatta per mezzo
In
di
het
lei.
woord was leven.
E senza di
En
lei
het leven was
neppure
het
una
licht
delle
voor de
cose fatte
mensen.
è stata fatta.
I reč postade
Het licht
telo
schijnt in de
i usali
duisternis.
su nas
En de
puno
And the word
blagodati
became
istine.
flesh and lived
E
among
la
us.
vita era la luce degli
I
uomini.
vide smo
And we have
slavu
seen
njegov.
and
Is
known
mens
the
geworden.
splendor living
En
hours.
heeft bij ons
En
As
dat
in
is
Jezus
ons
Christus.
vol van
gezegd.
goedheid en
Ja me
waarheid.
nägime tema
I od
kirkust
punosti
nagu
njegove
isast
mi svi
ainsündinud
uzestvovali
full of
blagodat
grace
za
and
blagodaću.
truth.
Jedinorodni
It
sin
is
koji
God, the only
naručio
Son,
očinom.
who is close to the
Nessuno ama
Father's
On ga
heart,
Die aan het hart van de
was
Vader
made
rust,
him known.
L'unigenito di
heeft
Dio,
hem doen kennen.
che è nel seno del Padre, è quello che l'ha fatto conoscere.